Before we start this video, a large thank you to a name I unfortunately cannot pronounce. Thank you very much for the support, my friend. Robin, Patrick, Aaron, Cody, Bill, and Thomas for their support on Patreon. I hope you guys enjoy the video. And an immense thank you to Halo Burner and Sora Stratos for their continued support to the channel on Patreon. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hello guys, and today we're going to add some new attacks to our character to improve upon the actual attack kits. We're going to add the running attack, the rolling attack, and the backstepping attack. So if you're using the same animation set as me, there will be a running, rolling, and backstepping attack in the folder. And for now, I'm just going to drag in the main version, not the two-handed version of each attack. And if you're not using this, just go ahead and find whatever animations you're going to use and just drop them in the animator right now. So I'm just going to give these a name that's going to be consistent with all of our other attacks. And since this is for the main hand right now, I'm just going to rename this to main _ run attack _ 01. And I'll have main roll attack and main backstep attack. So while I'm doing this now, let's take up the animator. Let's talk about how we're going to do this. We're going to basically utilize the light attack action that we already have. And it's going to really do most of the work for us. We just need to make one check for each attack. And you want to blend these animations to right when the attack ends. That might be a bit too fast, but really wherever you decide to blend this back to empty is how long you're going to be stuck in the animation once the attack is over. So keep that in mind. If you want to punish the player or make them commit a bit longer, then don't blend the animation until a bit after the attack animation has concluded. But I'm going to put it right here so it blends back into the locomotion just after the swing is completed, and it's kind of being drawn back towards the character. And I'm just going to name this main backstep attack 01, and then we're good to go. So we're going to start with the running attack. And the running attack is executable when your player is sprinting. So this is very simple. Now, if you want to go ahead and try this right now before I do it, you should pause the video and give it a go. The only hint I'll give you is you do it inside the light attack action. So go ahead now. I encourage you, if you want, just pause the video and give it a quick try, and then drop back if you'd like. All right, so I'm going to go to the light attack action script right now. Now let's open that up. So you can see here we have a perform light attack function right here. So that is the default if nothing else is performable. So before we do that, we're going to check to see if the player is sprinting by saying if player performing action .character network manager .is sprinting .value. Then instead of performing a light attack, we're going to perform a running attack and then return. Now in Elden Ring, you technically have a light and heavy running attack, rolling attack, and backstepping attack. But for now, we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to add one universally for all. So let's just copy the perform light attack and paste it as perform running attack. And then we're going to call that function here right now, like so. So right now, all we're going to do is say, we're going to make a note. If we're two-handing this for the future, we would play our two-handed sprinting attack here. But we don't have that for now, but this is just a to-do. So if we're two-handing, play the two-hand animation, and if not, we play the main hand animation. So we can check our perform light attack to see what we need to do here, or what we need to do code-wise, rather. So if we paste this, you can see we have an attack type, which then will basically set our damage modifier, etc., etc. And if we look for sprint or running attack, what's not there. So let's go to our enums real quick, and let's add that in. So enums attack type, you can see we have charge attack. Let's add running attack. And just to keep the naming conventions the same, I will call it running attack 01. Alright, so now that that's there, we can just put that in the attack type when we call play target attack animation. And we need to change the animation from light attack 02 to run attack 01, which we don't have main yet, so let's make that variable as well. So up top here we have main light attack 01 and 02. I'm going to give that a header. And I'm just going to call this light attacks or light attack, whatever you prefer. And then header running attack. And you just copy a variable here and paste that down here and change it to run attack 01. And I think I called my animation main run attack 01. Yes, I did. So put that there like that. Okay, so that's good to go. Now I'm going to save this. We are interacting. That's very important. We don't want to be able to do anything else or break this. It is a committed attack. It's a committed action. So then we say return here lastly, so we don't also try to play the light attack. All right, so now that we have that done, what else do we do here? Well, we're going to say if we are sprinting, perform a running attack. There we go. And now when we perform this running attack, we should stop sprinting so we can't accidentally do it twice. And yes, there we go. There's the running attack. So there's no animation events on this yet, but you guys know how to do that by now. So I'll do one at the end of the video just to show you, but for now we can move on. So now the rolling attack, you want to blend, or rather allow the rolling attack on the exact frame that the rolling animation starts. And I believe if you're using the straight sword pack, it is animation or frame 16 or 17. I think either will look fine, honestly, because you're going to do a blend of 0.2 anyway. But we're going to try 16. So let's go to the character combat manager now. And what we're going to do is create a new set of functions here. We have enable is invulnerable. We're going to enable can do rolling attack. Okay. And we don't need to check for owner because this isn't going to be a network variable. It will be on an animation event, so we'll toggle for everybody. But again, you're not going to be able to use it unless you're controlling the character, so it doesn't matter really. So we're going to make a header for attack flags because we're going to add a couple in this video here. The first one's going to be a public bool can perform rolling attack or roll attack, whatever you prefer. Initialize it as false because you can't do it generally. You need to be in a roll for it to activate. And then let's copy this and change it to true down here under enable can do rolling attack. And I'm going to delete the if is owner. You can keep it there. Like I said, it doesn't matter. So we're going to save this, but we don't need to have this be a network variable because no one needs to know if you can do rolling attack except for you. All right, so now we need to copy and paste this for disable. So we can say disable can do rolling attack and change it to false. Now, two things we need to do now. We need to put this first one at a position on the animation and put the second function on the reset action flag. So we can do that first if you want, now that we're here actually. So when we come back to the empty animation, we need to disable this flag. So if you get knocked out of the rolling animation somehow or canceled, then this will still always disable. So you can't just do a rolling attack out of nowhere. That's always like a fail safe as well. All right, next we need to, I'm actually going to move enable and disable can do combo actually. I know it's on the animator manager, but I'm going to quickly move that to the character combat manager. It's going to give me an error too because the player manager has two functions that overwrite them because they're virtual. And I need to change it from animator to combat manager here on this function. But I'm going to quickly do that because it makes more sense to me to have this on the character combat manager. You don't have to do that. I'm just very, I'm a stickler about my naming conventions and where things are located because it's easy to just haphazardly put things somewhere and then 4 or 5 months later, you would think it would be on the combat manager, but then it's somewhere else and it's unexpected. So now that's done, I'm going to go to the rolling animation, whichever one you're using. And specifically, I think frame 16 here, it says in the little preview, I don't know if you can see that. That's where I'm going to put the animation event. So add an animation event, and then the name is enable can do rolling attack and apply. So we want to move, want to disable invulnerability a long time before that. Otherwise, you're invincible while you're doing your rolling attack. That's not good. And we're going to apply that. Okay, so back over here now in light attack weapon action. The same thing, just copy and paste where we did the if we are sprinting and change it to if we are rolling. And instead of performing a running attack, we will make a new function called perform rolling attack. And instead of checking if we're sprinting, we're going to check if we are able to perform a rolling attack. So this is very nice. I like the way this is laid out. It's very neat. You can see you're just kind of scanning down to the possibility of attack functions here. And it's just super easy to understand, at least to me, super easy to read. That's why I'm a big fan of this action system. So you can really go ham and you can have a lot of different kinds of attacks here just using this. We're going to do the same thing when we do the jumping attack eventually, with the jumping light and jumping heavy. We're just going to check for if we are in the air, etc. But yeah, I'm going to hand myself. So we're going to call this perform rolling attack. Attack type, we need to make a new attack type because there is no attack type for rolling attack. So let's make a rolling attack 01. Again, we go back here now and we change this to rolling attack 01, and we are in fact interacting. We want to be locked into that. So we're going to do that. Where am I going? Okay, here we go. We are locked into that. We don't want to be able to break out of that animation. So is interacting is set to true. And we need to change the animation to rolling or roll attack 01. We don't have a variable for that right now, so let's go ahead and make that. So I'm going to copy and paste this main, I think I called it roll attack 01. Okay, so that's looking good. Now let's go in and insert our variable name down here. And I feel like I'm forgetting something. Okay, yeah, so before, when we're sprinting, when we do the sprinting attack, we're no longer sprinting, so we can't do the sprinting attack twice. This is not the case for the rolling attack, so make sure you reset it by saying player performing action .playercombatmanager.can perform rolling attacks equal to false. Otherwise, you could spam the light attack button and just keep indefinitely trying to do a roll attack. So if you go into game here now, you can see, boom, yes, that works as intended. Looks very nice. Now, there is not a problem, but a slight thing you guys might notice, and it's that we have to spam the input button to do this. Whereas in Elden Ring or Dark Souls, you can hit the input like a second before you're allowed to do it, and it will still do the action for you. This is a thing called input queuing, and I was going to wait to set it up later, but I think we're going to set it up in the next video because it's very important for helping the game feel nice. So back to our, I'll talk more on that towards the end of the video. Back to our character combat manager, let's make another variable for can do backstep attack, and let's just copy and paste the enable can do rolling attack, change the name to enable can do backstep attack or backstepping attack, whatever you prefer, and we're going to set this up much the same way. We're going to look for a specific frame on the backstep animation, and then we're going to basically enable this. We're going to disable it back on the empty state as a failsafe. And we're going to disable it when we try to play it so you can't do it twice or repeatedly reset the action. All right, cool. So that looks good. All right, now let's go over here onto our reset action flag and call character.characterCombatManager.disable can do backstep attack. Excellent. Save. All right, let's jump over to our light attack action. That's where I'm at. Yes, and let's make that new function. So again, the order of operations here doesn't really matter right now, as long as it comes before light attack. So you can put it anywhere. I'm going to put it after the rolling attack. The order of operations will matter a little bit more in the future when we have a jumping attack. You want to check for that first by seeing if you're in the air. But anyway, getting ahead of myself. Right now, it doesn't matter as long as it all comes before the light attack. Let's just, again, check for can perform backstep attack. Let's change the function name to perform backstep attack. It doesn't exist yet. So let's copy and paste the rolling attack function. Change the name to perform backstep attack. You know how this works by now. We need to add the attack type to our enums, and then we need to add the animation type here. And you can do the exact same thing here, by the way, with other attack actions if you have any custom actions in mind. If you want to, for example, add more actions to the heavy attack or even more to the slight attack, it's really just as simple as checking for a specific flag if that's how you're going to make them. So I'm going to type in an animation name here that doesn't exist yet, and then I'm going to go up here and make it, and I see that I forgot to give my rolling attack its own header, so I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to call it rolling attack, and then I'm going to do the same thing here for backstep attack. And I will change the variable name to backstep underscore attack 01. And I think I called the animation state that too, so I'm just going to put backstep, capital B, all one word. I believe that's what I called it. We'll save that now. All right, cool. So let's go over now and let's actually set this up on a specific frame. So I'm going to go to my backstep animation here. And I think, what frame is this? I'll know when I see it because I have two versions of this in my project. Let me see. Let's go to events. Yes, okay. So it's frame 14 or 15, but I think 14 is the one specifically that it executes on. So I'll know when I try it out here now in game. So frame 14 if you're using the same animations as I am. If not, then you can kind of blend them together if you prefer, if they don't link up exactly. Let's go now back to perform backstep. I forgot to make sure that we change can perform rolling to can perform backstep. Otherwise, it won't cancel. You can do it indefinitely. So now if I go in the game and I press the backstep button, and then press the light attack, that is working as intended. So we don't have any animation events set up, and also there's one more very important step. We didn't add any support for our new attack types. What do I mean by this? If you right click now and finally, as you can see, we have light attack 01 here. Oh, we forgot to do our heavy and charged attacks too. So we have to set up our stamina drain and also our damage modifier. So right here on drain stamina based on attack under the player combat manager, let's recreate the switch statement and let's actually fill in all the attacks we currently have. And we're going to come back here in the future if we ever add any more attacks. So this will be updated as you want to add more attack types. So for light attack 102, it's light attack stamina cost multiplier. For heavy attack 102, it's heavy. For charged attack 102, you can make one for charged. You can see these don't exist yet, which is why I'm getting an error. So we're going to make these next. And again, this is basically what determines how much stamina we lose when we're performing a melee attack. It's a base stamina cost multiplied by the multiplier of the attack type. So a heavy attack could have twice as much stamina drain as a light attack, for example. You may want to tweak these depending on your weapons. So we're going to do the same thing for running attack 01 and rolling attack 01 and backstepping attack 01. And if you wanted to, you could just keep these under a general umbrella by saying that the running attack would be a light attack, for example. But that's entirely up to you. I like giving them their own values. I like doing the same thing for the damage multiplier, because let's say you have something like a spear, for example. And by the way, now I'm on the weapon item here now, and we're actually adding the stamina multiplier. So I'm just going to fill in these as I talk. But yeah, let's say you have a spear, and the spear's running attack animation is like a thrusting motion. Then it would make sense for the spear to have a little bit more damage on the running animation, or the running attack, than a lot of other running attacks or weapons, because it just looks like it looks more powerful. So you can specifically tweak the running attack on that weapon by tweaking the modifiers. Or let's say your animation looks like it will be much heavier at a greater cost for a certain attack than other weapon types, then you can tweak the stamina cost multiplier for the specific attack. This is just how I like doing it. Obviously, both ways are valid. Depends on how in-depth you want to get with all your attacks and your costs and all that stuff. If you like numbers, it's cool to have a modifier for every kind of attack type. All right, so we have all of our stamina cost modifiers in now, but we're not done yet, because that, like I said, is one of two things. So if we follow this train a bit more, you can see here we have damage target, and this is under the melee weapon damage collider. You can see we're assigning damage modifiers based on attack type. So let's remake this switch statement again, and let's fill it in for our new ones as well. Our running attack, our rolling attack, and our backstepping attack. And we're going to have to come back here again in the future when we add the jumping, light, and heavy attack. But for now, let's just fill in what we have. So I'm going to remake the switch statement and copy everything that exists so far, which was light attack 01, 02, heavy attack 01, 02, and charged attack 01, 02. And then at the end, I'm going to add in the 3 new attacks. And to do that, we're going to need to add 6 new variables. It's actually basically the same variable set twice. We need to add the modifiers on the damage collider for running, backstepping, and rolling attacks. And we need to add the modifiers on the weapon class. So I'm just going to place this in here and say running attack 01 modifier. And then I will say rolling or roll attack 01 modifier, and then backstepping or backstep attack 01 modifier, whichever you prefer. And then, like I said, these variables do not exist right now on this script, so let's make them. I don't know if you guys remember, but we get these variables filled in from the weapon manager script, which we'll go to in a moment. So let's add these variables first: running or run, rolling or roll, and backstep or backstepping attack 01 modifiers. You can see, by the way, where we get these variables. I'm sure all you guys know this, but if you don't, you can right-click, like for example, the light attack 01 modifier or any of these. If I right-click it and find all references, I can locate where I'm actually editing this, and boom, it brings me here to set weapon damage on the weapon manager, which is where we need to be, which is perfect. So now we can just add these 3 into here, and then we're basically done. And before I go, I'm also going to show you, I know recently for AI, we added in, and yeah, just fill these variables in. By the way, running attack 01 is equal to running attack 01, etc. But yeah, we added the ability to rotate during specific frames of an attack. We're going to modify our player locomotion manager just a little bit, like a line of code, so we can do the same thing. That makes it so you have a lot more control during specific frames of your attack and makes the game generally feel a lot better. So we're going to do the same thing for our player, and I'm also going to set up one animation on video with animation events, but I'm not going to do any more because you guys know how to do that by now. We've done that a lot. So I will finish up these right here. Oh, we need to add it on the weapon too, my bad. One more place. On the weapon, set your modifiers here. So this is where you'd actually set the modifiers themselves. Under attack modifiers, do the same thing for running, rolling, and backstepping, and then you are good to go. I'm going to give mine default values right now of like 1.1. You can change these how you want. Like again, this is a balance thing, so this is something you're probably not going to figure out the first, second, third, or fourth time. This is stuff that you edit when your game has a loop. All right, so let's go into the animation events. We can copy it from the light attack action or something that's already set up. And then we go to, I'll do the run attack right now on video. So let's go to the run attack, and obviously we do not want to enable a combo, so we can delete that right away. You don't need to combo on a running attack, you can't. We do need to drain stamina and open and close the damage collider, so we can keep all that right there. Now let's just find the window. For me, right there on frame 15 looks like is where I'd open the damage collider, and then I would probably keep that open for about 4 frames. You can do 5 if you're feeling generous. 4 is fine. So let's move, or let's call rather, the enable can rotate, the animation event. So we go now to the running animation again, or the run attack. I want to allow rotation for, let's say, the first frame for sure, and then maybe he does a couple steps there, so you can still turn while you're doing that pretty realistically. Right when his foot stops, I'm going to disable rotation by calling disable can rotate, and that will give the attack a lot more control. Now, this won't work because if I go into the scene here now and try this, I can't actually change my rotation still. And this is because if we have the can move bool off, which turns off while we're attacking, the vertical movement here and horizontal movement don't actually get updated. Let me show you. So if we go to handle grounded movement, you can see here, if player cannot move, we're just simply saying return. So instead of saying that, we're going to say if the player can move or can rotate, which is under player locomotion manager, my bad. So if we can move or can rotate, then we're going to allow this script to fetch the movement values here. And then again, if we can't move, we're going to return after this because we don't want to allow our character to move if we're locked into a perform action. Otherwise, you're able to slide around. So if we cannot move, though, return. But we still want to get those values because those values are what determines our rotation direction. So now we should be able to actually change the rotation direction for the first 5 or 6 frames of the attack, whatever I allowed it for. So let's try that. I'm going to run straight and then try to snap a different direction. And yes, you can see I can snap to the right. I'll run again and turn, and yes, I can snap to the left. So ideally, what you want to do is actually give each attack a specific window. Not too generous, though. You want to still keep that atmosphere of committing to the attack in your game. But you want to give each of those attacks a window where you can rotate. This makes it so if you're locked onto a target and they're walking sideways or pivoting a little bit, you can still really follow through with your attack and hit them, which just generally feels a lot better. Now, before I go, let's touch on that input queuing sequence thing. So what is an input queuing system? It's what we're going to do in the next video, and I'll touch on it very lightly. It's very simple. All an input queue does is, let's say you're trying to do a combo, and you swing, you make a light attack. Now, if you press the right bumper again, if you don't have input queuing, you got to press the exact time that the allow combo turns on, which means you got to spam it because basically you're probably never going to hit it on the exact time, so you're always going to be a second late. And that's a second you're losing out that you could have done the combo a little bit earlier. Input queuing makes it so if you hit it before you're allowed to do a combo, it will remember it, and the second you are allowed to do a combo, it will do the combo for you. And this is true for also rolling and other actions. So it's not just for attacking, it's for any action that you want to apply it to, really. So that's what we're going to do in the next video. So for the rolling attack, for example, if you tap the light attack button while you're rolling, as long as you don't tap it right away, then you will do a rolling attack. And if you tap the light attack button while you're already attacking, then you will do a combo attack, as long as it's not literally immediately. And that makes the gameplay feel a lot better, and it's very simple to set up. So thank you once again, guys, for joining me this weekend. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. A special thank you to my patrons. It is because of each and every one of you I get to keep doing this, and I love doing this. I will see you guys next week.